Right now on Good Morning America, first look, the capture of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, due in court today in New York to face drug trafficking charges. Overnight, President Trump with new warnings to other leaders in the region, including Colombia and Cuba. Trump saying Cuba is, quote, ready to fall. How he's justifying the raid to capture Maduro and what we're learning about the dozens of people reportedly killed.
What comes next for the people of Venezuela, the potential leaders who could take over, the security concerns right now, and what all of this could mean for oil prices as President Trump vows to take control of Venezuela's oil reserves. Plus, our reporter on the Colombia-Venezuela border.
Also this morning, weather alerts from the historic flood crisis worsening in parts of California to snow beginning the work week in the Northeast.
A school police officer goes on trial accused of not doing enough to stop a school massacre in Uvalde, Texas that left 19 students dead.
A bus crashing off a highway overpass in Texas.
A wild ending to the NFL regular season overnight. The playoff matchups now set.
A surprise performance from Billy Joel as he battles a brain disorder.
And later, the trend of no shoes at work.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America, First Look.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay.
And I'm Hannah Battah. Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife are due in court here in New York today to face drug trafficking charges.
Maduro is currently being held at the same notorious jail that housed the likes of El Chapo, Sean Diddy Combs, and Luigi Mangione. Maduro gave 2 thumbs up as he was escorted by federal agents and was even heard wishing people a happy new year.
We learned more overnight about that U.S. raid that captured him, a raid that was planned for months, with U.S. forces building a full-size replica of Maduro's safe house. But now the attention focuses on what's next, and President Trump last night had a stern message for the leaders of Colombia and Cuba. ABC's Lionel Moise begins our coverage.
Overnight, President Trump reaffirming that the United States is in control of Venezuela after the raid that led to the capture of dictator Nicolas Maduro.
We're in charge.
Trump last night also issuing stark warnings to other countries, including Colombia.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
it sounds good to me.
And Mexico.
Mexico has to get their act together because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're going to have to do something.
The president was also asked about Cuba, where the economy has been supported by Venezuela for decades. Many there now fear the U.S. could take military action in Cuba as well.
Cuba is ready to fall, you know?
Yes.
Cuba looks like it's ready to fall.
You just wait for Cuba. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26. In our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans.
The Cuban government claims 32 Cuban nationals were killed during the U.S. raid. Trump says they were protecting Maduro. The administration says no Americans were killed during Friday night's raid, but a few were injured. While many Republicans are praising the operation, Democrats and even some Republicans are condemning it. Outgoing Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene writing, "Why is it okay for America to militarily invade, bomb, and arrest a foreign leader, but Russia is evil for invading Ukraine, and China is bad for aggression against Taiwan? Is it only okay if we do it?" Trump defending the raid, saying Maduro's capture will lead to lower oil prices and fewer drugs coming into the U.S.
We're in the business of having countries around us that are viable and successful, and where the oil is allowed to freely come out because that's good, it gets the prices down. That's good for our country.
During your campaign, you talked about ending American foreign intervention. What changed your mind with Venezuela? What kind of grew your interest in it?
The fact that he sent drugs into our country.
But many noting Trump recently pardoned the former president of Honduras, who had been convicted in the U.S. of narco-terrorism conspiracy. Trump defended that pardon, calling the conviction a, quote, setup by the Biden administration. Now, Venezuela's former leader will get his day in court. Maduro and his wife are set to be taken to a federal courthouse in New York this morning for arraignment. U.S. prosecutors claim Maduro was at the forefront of narco-terrorism conspiracy to transport thousands of tons of cocaine into the U.S., sold Venezuelan diplomatic passports to individuals he knew were drug traffickers, seeking to move drug proceeds using private planes under diplomatic cover, and that he and his wife maintained state-sponsored gangs and ordered kidnappings, beatings, and murders against those who owed them drug money or undermined their operation.
People should read this indictment. They should read what this man did for the last 15 years of his life against the United States, him and his wife.
Maduro has long denied drug trafficking. It could be well over a year, though, before a jury is seated and the trial can begin. Sophie, Hannah.
Lionel, thanks. Thousands of Americans have been stranded across the Caribbean after the airspace was closed during the U.S. raid in Venezuela. Some travelers were told it could be Friday before they can fly home. But most major airlines are now adding flights to get people home. Danny Cabrera was stranded in St. Croix trying to get back to Chicago to see his dying grandmother.
My sister was telling my cousin Annette, I think she's holding on for him to come home because she knows I'm coming home. And I told her yesterday, it's okay. It's okay to not wait.
We heard from Danny overnight. He was able to get on a standby flight to see his family today. For others still stranded, airlines are not offering vouchers for hotels because this was considered an uncontrollable event.
The world is watching and waiting to see what's next for Venezuela, from drug trafficking to the oil industry to political instability. There's no shortage of challenges. Here's ABC's Allison Cossack.
From South Florida to Madrid, Spain, to Bogota, Colombia, a mix of celebration and opposition to the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Now, questions about Venezuela's future.
There is Venezuela, and in normal times, tens of thousands of Venezuelans cross this border to buy goods here that they can't get back home. Now, though, it's a path perhaps to a new future for the millions of people who've been forced into exile.
Como dicen, sentimientos encontrados.
You get the sense that people don't really know how to feel. Happy that Maduro is gone, but they have no idea what's going to happen next.
Nicolas Maduro came to power after Hugo Chavez died in 2013, tightening his grip on the country despite not winning elections outright. More than 50 countries refused to recognize him as the legitimate president. Now, with his capture, some analysts fear more instability in the short term.
In becoming more destabilized, will that provide an opportunity for the cartels and other criminal organizations to take more control or operate more freely? We could actually see an increase in the flow of drugs coming to the United States.
Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, is now interim leader. Overnight, President Trump said she is cooperating with the U.S.
Can you just clarify where you stand on Delcy Rodriguez right now?
I don't have to tell you. I just say that she will face a situation probably worse than Maduro, because, you know, Maduro gave up immediately.
Trump saying Venezuela will have elections at the right time. Edmundo Gonzalez, the exiled president-elect, is urging Venezuelans to follow the rule of law and unite. Whoever the next leader is, the oil industry will play a major role in shaping the country's future. Venezuela has the largest supply of oil reserves in the world, a supply American companies tapped for decades. But after Venezuela nationalized its oil industry, output plummeted. Getting significant production back online won't be easy.
The task alone is a massive one and would be a very expensive one for any company to undertake.
President Trump has signaled he's open to having American troops on the ground in Venezuela, saying now it depends on the new administration in Venezuela. Sophie, Hannah?
Allison, thank you. After Maduro's capture, President Trump is once again discussing taking over Greenland. Denmark's prime minister is urging Trump to stop the threat, saying the U.S. has no right to the Danish territory. The wife of Trump advisor Stephen Miller posted a photo of Greenland covered by a U.S. flag with the message "soon." The prime minister called the post disrespectful. Now stay with ABC News for coverage of Nicolas Maduro's appearance in court and track the latest on the ABC News app.
Let's turn now to the weather and the historic, relentless flooding in the West. Another round of storms sweeping through California after weeks of relentless rain.
I've never seen anything like this. It's crazy to see.
Roads in the San Francisco Bay Area swamped, leaving drivers stranded.
As you can see, a little bit of mayhem for everybody this afternoon. Our message is turn around, don't drown.
Some people choosing to get around by kayak. The area recording its highest tide level since 1998. Powerful waves sending seawater crashing into the streets. In Santa Barbara County, mudslides temporarily shut down Highway 101. Nearby, one man was killed after being swept into a creek. Officials warning the currents may be stronger than they appear. And in Los Angeles, this large tree crushing multiple vehicles. The wet weather will last through today with several more inches of rain expected. Drier conditions are expected for the West Coast later this week.
Here in the Northeast, we are expecting snow. Let's check your Monday forecast.
Good morning. We have more wet weather moving on to the West Coast. We're talking about flood watches much of Northern California and the lower elevations, winter storm warnings in the higher mountains of the Sierra. 2 to 4 inches of rain. Places like San Francisco getting into the heavier rain later on this afternoon. Upwards of 1 to 2 feet of snow in the northern Sierra. Not nearly those snowfall amounts in the Great Lakes and Northeast from this Clipper system moving on through, but Buffalo to Syracuse all the way to the Berkshires of Massachusetts, maybe upwards of 3 to 6 inches of snow into this afternoon. Meteorologist Jeff Smith, ABC News.
Coming up, McDonald's now facing a lawsuit over how a popular menu item is made.
But first, a bus flipping over and plunging off a busy highway overpass.
And the growing mystery after the murders of a dentist and his wife with their young. Back now with the terrifying crash in Houston, a Metro bus plunging off a bridge and landing on its side on the road below. Officials say the bus was rear-ended by a car. 14 people were hospitalized. One woman was freed from the wreckage with the jaws of life.
Jury selection begins today in the trial of a former police officer in Uvalde, Texas, accused of failing to respond to the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in 2022. 19 students and 2 teachers were killed. Adrian Gonzalez faces 29 felony counts for allegedly placing kids in danger by failing to engage the gunman. He's pleaded not guilty. Police waited 77 minutes to confront the shooter.
Police in Columbus, Ohio are asking for the public's help as they investigate the unsolved murder of a dentist and his wife. Spencer and Monique Tepe were found dead in their home last Tuesday. Their 2 young children were physically unharmed. Police are asking for videos or pictures from this area. Friends and colleagues called 911 from the house after Spencer failed to show up at work.
I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in.
Later, a different caller described the crime scene.
There's a body. He's laying next to his bed, off of his bed, and there's blood.
Police have ruled out murder-suicide. So far, no arrests have been reported.
The CDC releases new flu numbers today as cases spike around the country. New York has already reported the most hospitalizations from flu ever in a single week, up 24% in 1 week before Christmas. And in North Carolina, 39 flu-related deaths have been confirmed.
McDonald's faces a class action lawsuit over its McRib sandwich. The lawsuit accuses the fast food chain of misleading customers by marketing the McRib as containing real pork rib meat. The suit claims it is actually restructured pork meat. McDonald's denies that claim and says it is committed to using real quality ingredients.
Well, coming up, a wild ending to the NFL's regular season.
But first, what we've learned about the people, 40 of them, who were tragically killed in a New Year's Eve bar fire.
New details about that New Year's Eve bar fire in Switzerland and the 40 people killed. Half of them were minors, some as young as 14, raising questions about ID checks. The fire was apparently caused by sparklers on champagne bottles, which ignited soundproofing on the ceiling.
A skydiver is okay after a parachute stunt went horribly wrong before a college bowl game in Texas. The skydiver got tangled in the netting near the end zone, then fell to the ground just in front of fans. Winds there were about 12 miles an hour at the time.
Now to the NFL, and the playoff matchups finally set.
The end of the NFL regular season was anything but boring. The Steelers and Ravens duking it out for the final playoff spot. Pittsburgh taking the lead with just 3:49 to go. But the Ravens responding less than 90 seconds later, taking a 4-point lead and forcing 42-year-old Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers to stage a comeback.
Rodgers inside, caught by Austin.
Rodgers driving his team down the field, and with less than a minute left,
Austin for the touchdown!
But hold on, kicker Chris Boswell missed the extra point. His first extra point miss of the entire season. That means the Ravens only needed a field goal to win. Baltimore managing to get the ball down the field in less than a minute, setting up a 44-yard game-winning field goal with no time remaining. The very last playoff spot coming down to the very last play.
The kick is no good!
Kicker Tyler Loop misses the field goal. The Steelers win 26-24 and advance to the playoffs. After the game, Rodgers saying what it means to him.
It's pretty emotional, honestly. It's been a great year. So I'm thankful for these guys and excited to be going to the playoffs for the first time in a long while.
A remarkable end to a remarkable season filled with records. Cam Little, who kicked the longest field goal in NFL history earlier this season, kicked the second longest yesterday at 67 yards. The Jets made history too, but not in a good way, becoming the first team in NFL history to end the season with 0 interceptions. The Bills played what was very likely their last game at Highmark Stadium after 53 seasons. But now, all eyes look to the future. The playoffs begin Saturday with the Rams at the Panthers and the Packers at the Bears. The 3-game Sunday will be played in Jacksonville, Philadelphia, and New England. And next Monday, the Texans take on the Steelers.
By the way, a priest was seen blessing the end zone in Pittsburgh, the same end zone where the Ravens would miss that crucial field goal.
Coming up, the new trend of no shoes at work.
Plus, a surprise performance from Billy Joel. Time to check the pulse. We begin with the Critics' Choice Awards.
Host Chelsea Handler took a moment out of her monologue to honor the late director Rob Reiner. Handler calling him the nicest guy in Hollywood, saying Reiner believed we all should look out for each other. As for the awards, one battle after another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, took home the Best Picture.
Timothée Chalamet won Best Actor for Marty Supreme, thanking his partner Kylie Jenner. And the new Avatar movie won for Best Visual Effects. The film now topping $1 billion at the global box office. Next, Billy Joel surprising his fans with his first performance since announcing he has a rare brain disorder.
So he sang some of his classics this weekend in Florida. He performed 2 songs with the Billy Joel cover band, telling the crowd he wasn't planning on working tonight. Joel, who is 76, is undergoing physical therapy for his condition, which causes problems with balance, hearing, and vision. Next, a new trend in the tech industry, going shoeless at work.
Yeah, some Silicon Valley startups are now enforcing a no shoes policy. They're encouraging employees to walk around the office barefoot or change into slippers. The goal is to promote a stress-free workplace. And finally, one little boy who was nearly caught red-handed.
Watch as Owen is brushing his sister's pony, but then he hears the door open and looks terrified, then dives for cover as his big sister walks into the room dressed as a princess.
He was up to no good, and he knew it.
The look on his face says it all.
Top headlines next. Checking more top stories, Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife are expected to appear in a New York courtroom today. The U.S. removed Maduro from power in a daring military operation, raiding his compound and flying the couple to the U.S. to face narco-terrorism charges. President Trump says the U.S. is now in charge of Venezuela, pending a transition, and he wants total access to the country's oil reserves. Trump claims Venezuela's interim leader, Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, is cooperating with the U.S.
Airlines are adding dozens of flights so Americans stranded across the Caribbean because of the operation in Venezuela can fly home. Meantime, President Trump is warning that Cuba is ready to fall. Cuba's economy is supported by Venezuela. Cubans were killed trying to protect Maduro.
Today's weather, more rain for California and feet of mountain snow across the west. Lighter snow in the northeast. Spring-like temperatures in the south.
And finally, one very special dog.
Danny New tells us about Maple and her trainer.
Even for a dog as disciplined and decorated as Maple,
people have been amazed at her enthusiasm, energy, and how exhausting she is.
For nearly a decade now, Dr. Sue Staskill has been working alongside this English Springer Spaniel, who will actually be recognized in a few weeks for winning one of the American Kennel Club's annual awards for canine excellence. She was selected out of nearly 700 dogs.
She does whatever I ask her to do, and she does it with such enthusiasm and finesse.
And Maple has applied that enthusiasm to the many phases of her career.
Those are moving.
First off, she served as something the Heffermans on King of Queens could have used, called a bedbug detection dog.
Search.
Then Maple spent years working with the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Office in Michigan, using her nose to solve cold cases. But now, retired from the force and in her golden years, Maple has been spending the past year and a half working to save the bug you might be scared of, but really need, honeybees.
She's not the first one, but it's the first one that has been documented. And there you are.
Teaming up with researchers at Michigan State, Sue has been training Maple to find a certain highly contagious bacteria that can be quite destructive to a hive. As you can see in research conducted this past summer, Maple even got to rock her own beekeeping suit. And now Sue is working on the finishing touches for a training guide that can help train other dogs to track down this bacteria. According to U.S. Fish and Wildlife, it is estimated that as much as 35% of the world's food crops depend on animal pollinators to reproduce. So thank you for your nasal service, Maple.
She's just an incredible dog.
So guys, Sue says her training guide with Michigan State should be coming sometime this spring or summer, and then maybe you can train your dog to track down the Panobacillus larvae, is how I think it's pronounced.
Nailed it. Thanks, Danny. That's your Good Morning America First Look.
Have a great day, everyone.